Well. This fucking team. I've said it before and I will say it again. This fucking team. Go figure, right? Okay. Well, this was a quite a night, quite an early evening, and then quite a night. I don't even know where to start for this one, but I will attempt to put this evening into context. So on night that started out with the Knicks coming out lethargic. Well, actually, no. Let's tell the whole story. If we're gonna do this, let's do it right. So on a night that began with Julius Randle's wife, Kendra, getting into a bit of a back and forth with CP, the franchise of Knicks Fan TV, over, I guess you could say, the role that outside voices have in making or having made this season more frustrating for Randle and perhaps his family, I guess. Randle comes out in a first quarter that the Knicks played like crap, puts up 14 shots. Doesn't look particularly good, but he's the only Knick putting up shots. Made a few of them. And the Knicks, of course, because they're the Knicks, follow up a really great performance in Los Angeles against the Clippers with a terrible, god-awful effort. Go down by 20 points in the first half. Nobody's playing particularly well. A couple guys are playing hard, but no one's playing well. They're not defending worth a damn. They close it to 15 at the half with a little flurry late. And then come out in the second half with what was unequivocally, I will say, their best half of basketball of the season. Granted, it was against the Kings team, which, my God, I'm a little upset that I'm sitting here and doing this right now because Alvin Gentry has already had some gems this season in terms of post game press conferences, finding new and unique ways to call his team a walking embarrassment. I'll be curious to see what he says after this one when they let a 20-point lead. It wasn't even like, I mean, obviously the Knicks have specialized in letting 20-point leads slip away over the last month. How the Kings did it and the lack of resistance that the Kings put up in doing it was actually startling to watch from my vantage point tonight. Because the Knicks came out and they absolutely owned the second half. They outscored the Kings 83-52 in the second half, ultimately winning by 16. Second time this season that the Knicks have gone up by 20 in a game that they were at one point down by 20 following the Bucks win back in November. And the story is obviously going to be Julius Randle. Their defense played a big part in it too. Other Knicks had very good games. I thought Emmanuel Quickley was the second best Knick. Julius Randle, 46 points, career high, by the way, 46 points on 31 shots to go with 10 rebounds. Made 8 3-pointers, which I'm not sure if is a high for him. I'm pretty sure I missed it on the broadcast that they said it was a career high. I feel like it was a career high for him. Not to be outdone, though, Emmanuel Quickley, how about 27 points on 10 shots? Not bad, kid. And then RJ Barrett chipped in with 29 on 21 shots, played himself a nice little game to go with 8 rebounds and 6 assists. But this was the Julius Randle show. I mean, Julius Randle absolutely took ownership of this game in every way. Did it matter that it was against Domantas Sabonis, who was a guy he historically gets up to play against? Probably. Sabonis ended up getting himself ejected from this game in the fourth quarter, ostensibly over a foul call that he disagreed with, but really we know why, because he wanted nothing more to do with Julius Randle. But Randle was the guy that we saw at times last season. I was looking back last year at the number of games that Randle had where he went over 30 points and had at least 4 made 3-pointers. He had 10 of those games last year. The Knicks were unsurprisingly 9-1 in those contests. This year, coming into tonight, they only had 3 such games, and the Knicks were 1-2. Although one of those was the very close loss to the Nets. So now they're 2-2 in those games, and the Knicks have won 2 in a row. I I think they call that a winning streak. I'm not sure. I have to check the dictionary definition. Um, what does it mean moving forward? For a team that most of us for a while now have just have given up on any hopes of this season turning into anything, and more just been focusing on play the kids, play the kids, play the kids. Well, by the way, the kids played tonight, and the kids played a big role in this win. Obviously, we talked about RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, Deuce McBride, only 2 points, 20 huge minutes. I thought his defensive intensity helped change the game in the third quarter. It's not going to get talked about. Absolutely massive effort from Deuce McBride. And then Cam Reddish left the game injured. Didn't really have a great night, but we saw more of that young lineup that was so great against the Clippers. So we'll see. Hopefully Cam Reddish is okay. We'll see what happens with Obi Toppin. Will he get back from this mysterious hamstring ailment that has kept him out now the last 3 games? Yeah. How can I finish up this little opening monologue without mentioning my main man, the one and only number. What is he in your programs? 67 in your programs, number 1 in our hearts. Taj Gibson, who again only had 5 points, 8 rebounds, but 26 minutes of absolutely game-changing energy. Again, like Deuce, I thought Taj's energy in the third quarter was what they needed. And hey, like what I just talked about, there's a 36-year-old doing his thing, and then there's whatever McBride is, a 21 or a 22-year-old doing his thing. Like that's the way it's supposed to work, right? A team playing winning basketball, young players are doing some stuff, older players are doing some stuff, contributing to wins. We don't have to go through the same rigmarole about like these guys aren't playing enough minutes and these guys are playing too many minutes. It's like everybody's just doing their thing. Nobody's complaining. It's amazing how much winning cures all and how much this season has just, been a slog and a miserable one at that because they haven't been able to win enough games. And now here we are, 27-38. Are we looking at the tanking standings after tonight? Which tonight, obviously, losing to the Kings, a team that they were quote unquote chasing in the tanking standings, hurts them there. But hey, you look up, 4.5 games back of the Hawks. I mean, and 5 games back of the Hornets and the Nets. I mean, 15 or 17 games left to go. Who the hell knows? I'm not going to go crazy on that end of things. I'm going to wait and see. Let me see how they do in Dallas on Wednesday, and in Memphis, I think that game's on Friday night. Let's see. Let's see what happens. If they go into Dallas and they win a game in Dallas, we could maybe have a different kind of conversation. But for right now, let's enjoy this win, enjoy the performance again from Julius Randle, and enjoy a night when I don't think anyone's going to complain about anything tonight, although those have been famous last words before. We'll see. But anyway, hey, we could all toast to one thing. At least we're not the Kings. And on that note, let's get to the super chat. Shout out. We have over 500 people in here watching. It is 1:09 a.m. in this miserable season. But we here. New York, we here. Jason M. with the first comment. Glad I stayed up for this game. Thanks, Macri. Jason, I told you to stay up. We were doing the halftime Zoom, and Jason wasn't even. I'm gonna blow up your spot, Jason. He's like, "What's the score?" And this was after the Knicks had scored the first 5 points of the third quarter. I was like, "They're within 10." He's like, "All right, maybe I'll stay up." I'm happy you stayed up. Thank you, Andrew Claudio, for reminding everybody here that I have ended my predictions losing streak on the pod. I'm surely not going to rub that in Jeremy's face tomorrow. I think I had lost 5 in a row. So now hope is alive that I can still win the season series after I predicted 2-2 and the Knicks did indeed go 2-2 since we last recorded. Michael Miranda, what's going on, Michael? I wish Randle would play like this all the time. You think? Good win, playoff push, sure, why not? Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know who's going to write the book on Julius Randle's 21-22 season. I don't know when that book is going to be written, but I know when it's written, I'll read it because it just. And I predicted my crazy predictions at the All-Star break. I said Julius Randle's going to keep his hot stretch of play up, and I've been looking like an idiot for making that very silly prediction. Since then, I think I also predicted that they would have a winning record in their first 9 games after the break. Well, they're 2-4, only 3 more to go. Harry Donor, what's going on, Harry? On second thought, maybe my son picked the right jersey number. That's great. That's great. Yeah. Again, you know, as frustrating as Randle is, and look, one night is not going to make the rest of this season go away for Julius Randle, but it was a reminder, and there have been some nights where it is easy to forget because he has looked so bad. It is a reminder that when this guy is right, I mean, look, a lot of nights this year, people, myself included, have like called him out as like he's not a top player in the NBA because I mean he's not. But like there's a reason this guy was, 8th in MVP voting and second team All NBA. Like you have to be great. Not good. You have to be great to achieve that. And he was great last year and he does have greatness in him. We just don't know where it's gone on a consistent basis this season. But hey, if he wants to start pulling it out right now, I mean I guess better late than never, although some would disagree with that. Kevin Wilson, what's going on, Kevin? How often do both Randle and Barrett have games like this on the same night? Where was this all season? So they didn't do it tonight. I've tweeted out the stat. I think they did it twice this season. They combined. They had 30 points in the same game. I am 99% sure this is the most RJ and Randle have scored in the same game since they've been teammates. I just again, I'm going off the top of my head. I haven't stat checked that, but I don't think there's been another game where they've combined for 75 points. Did I do that math right? Yeah, 75 points. Andrew, maybe if you want to do a quick check on that, you could probably just look up like Barrett's high scoring games or Randle's high scoring games. But I'm pretty sure this is the most points I've ever had. Where is this all season? I mean, how did Julius get his points tonight? He got him off of making threes. He was 8 of 16 from deep. I'll say it again. I said it recently, and I've said it many other times, and I'll say it one more time. Those two players, I've never felt, and I still don't feel, have particularly good synergy with each other. I don't think they make each other better. It's not like they achieved 75 points tonight off of like Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, high pick and roll after high pick and roll. Like they don't run plays together. If anything, it's Randle kicking out to Barrett occasionally. That's about it. But so I think that is partially an answer to your question. I think the more concerning thing from a Knicks standpoint is like when you have guys who don't really have that synergy together, does it make it that much tougher for them to have good games on the same night? And I think the evidence would say yes, it does. Because it's more like whose turn is it going to be commanding the offense tonight? And I don't, neither of those guys are great at like playing second fiddle. Tonight, it was against the team that really, let's be honest, wasn't really playing much defense in the second half, especially. And Randle said it right after the game. Like it was made it a little bit easier. Joe Vogel, I hope the IQ renaissance, I'm here for it, baby, is here to stay. And like RJ, this is just his new normal. Randle was awesome, but all I can think about is his trade value. And there's going to be a lot of that tonight. And honestly, I'm not going to push back against it because I'd be lying if I said I wasn't thinking the same thing in the back of my mind. Yeah, I mean, if he could get the trade value up, it can look. How about let's split it down the middle. The Knicks can only be helped by Randle raising his re-raising his value around the league, and maybe reminding some folks, as I just said, what he can do when he has it going. All right, Ryan Hoang, bad tank loss, but I'll sign. Awesome RJ and IQ games. When Deuce figures out the fouls, he'll be locked down. That's everyone I want to shout out today. Perfectly defensible. Again, if you don't want to go overboard and say something nice about a guy who's caused a lot of frustration this year, I'm not going to blame you. But yeah, Deuce, again, it's the energy. It's the energy, and even when he is still she like shows you he's a rookie on defense, the energy is always there. The energy never goes away, and the energy didn't go away tonight. Even when he had some moments in the first half where defensively he struggled a little bit, made up for it in the second half. That's for sure. By the way, Andrew Claudio, thank you. ESPN Stats and Info has nothing on Andrew Claudio. The highest combined total between RJ Barrett and Julius Randle was 68 points last year versus Dallas when Randle had 44 and RJ had 24. So thank you, Andrew, for that. Lunas, Emirat, what's going on, Lunas? Frustrating part about games like this is seeing the effort Julius gave and how it's a rare occurrence this season. Waiting on Kendra's think piece about the happy face plate on the poster. Yeah, a few people noted that like CP died for my sins tonight. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to think that. I mean, I don't know. Here, I have the plate right here still. Here we go. The tape is still on it. There you go. It's. I think there is a larger discussion to be had, which I'm not in the mood to have tonight, about like, and maybe we'll have it early in the offseason, about like criticism and sports fandom and like, where are the lines, and like at the end of the day, it is kind of a nasty business. Like players play badly, coaches coach teams that don't win games, the fangs come out, right? It's been that way since sports have been played. Does it get a little bit more vicious in the social media age where people probably feel a little bit more empowered? Yeah, but like definitely CP, and I'll even defend myself. I guess I don't think things have ever gone overboard here, at least. Maybe on some other channels they have. But like, look, players. Social media age goes both ways. Like players' families are going to defend themselves, or So I don't really have much to comment on where that's concerned. I honestly, I really don't have even a comment. I hope their family is okay, and nothing that has happened this year has made their personal lives that much more difficult. But at the same time, like, guys play badly, people like me and other people are going to call them out for playing badly. And I think there's a way to do it where you could be harsh, but also fair. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Yeah, and as far as the other part of the comment, frustrating thing is like the effort gave tonight. All you had to do is look at the defensive possession he had on Sabonis after it was at some point in the fourth quarter when he hit like one of the threes. He ended up getting called for a foul, but it's like, come on, where's that effort been? So I totally get it. Zach Rudebear, what's going on, Zach? So now we start counting odds of making the play-in. Am I right? I mean, look, it's not. Here's the thing, right? It's not like you're chasing one team and you have two or three teams in between you and that team. Essentially, you're chasing three teams and you have one team in between you and that team. And I think they have. I'll check this right now, but I'm pretty sure they have multiple games against the Wizards left this year. Yeah, they have 2 games against Washington left this year. They already have the season tiebreaker over Atlanta. They play the Nets in a few days. They play the Nets at the end of the season. It's like, is there a world where it can happen? Yes, there's a world where it can happen. Is it going to happen? Again, wake me when they win. I'll even say win one of these next 2 games. Dallas or Memphis. If they win one of those next 2 and then beat Brooklyn, we can have that conversation. Kevin Danishevsky. If nothing else, talent proves Tonight proves that Julius Randle is a talent, yes, and we could probably get something for him. That closing lineup was awesome. Yeah, I mean, the closing lineup and like others recently have pointed out how um Tibbs maybe could have gone with Randall at the 5 more this season, hasn't gone to it. I think it's still matchup specific. I think tonight didn't feel like he was going to get hurt on the boards going to it, and also felt like Randall's going to be the guy defending Sabonis anyway. So what do you got to lose when the teams they're playing is playing Sabonis at the 5? It made sense. Is it going to always make sense? Not necessarily, but goes back to the same issues. Tibbs is a more conservative coach. Could he stand to be a little bit less conservative? Absolutely. By the way, as per Andrew Claudio, um, the RJ and Randall also tied that 68 points together versus the Lakers when RJ had 36 and Randall had 32. So, but yeah, they beat that tonight. Pro Glitz. Man, I hope we all find someone who cares about us as much as Julius Randle cares about outplaying Sabonis. Yeah, that would be nice. If only he played them every night. But what was the man? There was an equivalent of this recently that I'm like completely blanking on. About someone. Oh, Mitch. That's right, Mitch. The other night against DeAndre Ayton. Like guys get up to play certain guys that they have a thing with. So yeah, you'd love to see more consistency. By the way, Mitch left tonight with an illness, only played 2 minutes, picked up 2 fouls. Hopefully he's okay. Robert Cross, what's going on, Robert? First time, long time, John. Is it fair and reasonable to say that our late resurgence is the sign of a playoff run? Hashtag ding dong. Not bing bong, ding dong. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. By the way, this per Knicks PR, the Knicks 83 points in the second half of the franchise's most in a second half since, wait for it, December 28th, 1969. Oh my goodness. It reminds me of that disco song. Or no, that's December. That's late December back in 63. I don't know why I just confused those two things. It's very late. Anyway, they scored 83 points in the second half at Phoenix. It's the most in either half since they scored 84 points in the first half at Philadelphia on November 18th, 1988. So good stuff. Forgotten NYC. Does Julius playing well change the front office's attitude for a trade? I mean, I have no idea. I think I've been pretty consistent about this, and I'll say it again. I think the front office will. This is not a front office that is going to approach any player or situation with the attitude of like we must trade this player or we must get this player. They look at everything as a value proposition, and they make a deal that they feel is good value, and they don't make good deals or they don't make deals that they don't feel are good value. Which is why you saw a relatively or completely inactive trade deadline because they couldn't agree that anything was good enough value for them. So, do I think it's going to change their attitude? I don't know about that. But will they continue to be open about trading Randall? Yeah, for sure. They just need to get the right deal. Hannibal Miles, what's going on, Hannibal? Hawks lost, Knicks win tonight, and an inevitable Brooklyn or Hornets loss tomorrow because they play each other. Yes, they do. Gives us a chance for the play-in. I'd rather see my team win over a tank any day. I hate the tanking. I hate it. I hate coming down the pike of a season. It's not root. I'll never root for a loss. I don't know how to root for a loss. But like, I hate being happy about a loss. It's just not it's never been in my DNA. And again, like the flattened lottery odds, as we've seen over the last several years, when team after team after team jumps up, the Grizzlies jumped up, for Ja. I think I'm pretty sure New Orleans jumped up, right? for Zion. Like teams jump up every year. It happens. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Stevens, Galman, what's going on, Stevens? Finally, the shoe is on the other foot. Hashtag I know they sick. Ah, yes. Oh man, is that tweet still up by De'Aaron Fox? I'm gonna search for that. Man, I know they sick. I forgot about that. Um. Oh, and Andrew's reminding me the Lakers jumped up that year too. Yeah. Um. The Knicks were the only team that tanked and got in the top four. Yeah. Um. Man. Yeah, I know they sick. I know they sick. That's great. That makes my night. Um. Let's keep going. Anthony Sixto, what's going on, Anthony? Randle in the last 14 is averaging 23 and a half points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, not including tonight. Obviously, those averages go up tonight, except for the assists, because he was kind of calling his own number tonight. Outside of a couple duds, he's shown good energy, played smarter. If he closes the season this way, does it change your view? I'll be honest, and this may not be a popular opinion tonight. Not really. One, I'm going to push back a little bit on the he's shown good energy, played smarter. I think he showed some better energy before the All-Star break. I don't love the energy that he's played with on defense for even this, better stretch. That said, on balance, over the last 14 games, would you take the defensive energy that you've gotten from him if this 14-game sample size was what you were going to get on offense? Yes, probably. But here's the final part of it. I don't know that I trust him still. This season has really, really scared the shit out of me in terms of him as a leader and a guy who, again, if RJ Barrett's going to be one of the pillars of this team, I don't know that I want Julius Randle being the other one. I don't know, as I spoke about earlier, I don't know that they're the ideal pairing. I don't know that they're the ideal fit on court, or off court for that matter. So and I also, I do have questions about the consistency moving forward. So I'm kind of more in the camp of hey, get his value up. It could only help. But I'm open to continuing to develop that opinion, I guess. Stevens Guillaume, performances like these make you wonder what if we had played like this in November. Randle always sees red when he plays Sabonis. I mean, for me, the what ifs of this season are more what if they hadn't blown the Portland game? What if they hadn't blown the Oklahoma City game? What if they hadn't blown the Brooklyn game? What if they hadn't blown the? I mean, you don't have to go back that far. What if they hadn't blown the Phoenix game the other night? They'd be 3-3 since the break. If they had won that Phoenix game, which they should have won. And if they're 3-3 since the break, I don't know, does it make that big of a difference? Probably not. But we'd be talking about a team that would be, oh, that's why Fox deleted the tweet. That's too bad. Andrew Claudio is texting me, what if Derrick Rose didn't get injured? Yeah, but anyway, yeah, we'd be talking about a team that's 28-37. Does that make that big of a difference? They'd be what, 3.5 back instead of 4.5 back, or 2.5 back, I guess, right? Again, it's late. I apologize. I don't know. That's more for me. What I'm wondering, because I think early season, especially, they were kind of going through their issues, and then obviously the big question is what if Kemba had never come back, and what if they had kept Kemba in mothballs after 20 games, or found a new home for Kemba, or whatever. That's or the best what if of the whole season for me, at least. What if they had never signed Kemba Walker to begin with? But I digress. Hush Zoo. I'm very glad we won this game, even though I'm pro tank. I hope Fox will be forever losing player for scamming millions with his NFT scam. Glad he's not a Knick, and he will dread in Sacramento. Randle was all right. Well, Randle was a little bit better than all right. As for Fox, I don't really, I don't have many thoughts on his NFT scam thing, but I understand it was not a great look. So, sure, if that makes you happy, that's good. Um, Jessica, what's going on, Jessica? Good to hear from you as always. The kids made all the difference tonight. Another great game from RJ. McBride had a great night. More great Sims. Yeah, I thought Sims was pretty good in his couple of minutes. Not as good as some other nights, but he was good. Worth staying up for. I'm so happy you stayed up. I think I owe you a DM, but I think you have an early wake up call tomorrow. So shout out to you for being up and sticking with us. And hope you enjoyed the win. We're Redacted had a great game too. I hope Cam is okay. Let's go Knicks. Yeah, I think by the way, Tibbs had an update on Cam. I'll pull it up. Meanwhile, Jeremy E. I'm sorry, but the only difference between this game and most others this season is shots fell for Randle. His approach is still poor. On offense, I don't really have a disagreement. I think he had some moments tonight where he was aggressive. But yeah, the shots were falling. And when he makes shots, he's a different player than when he doesn't make shots. So, but at the same time, he reminded you tonight that he is capable of making those shots. He just hasn't made them at all this year. And I think of all the reasons that we talk about as to why the Knicks have struggled, Tibbs and Kemba and all that shit. Like if Julius Randle comes out and has the year that he had last year, this season, they're not 27 and 38. They're probably, I don't know what they are, 30. They're above 500. I know that. Nathan Filane. Nights like tonight and the narrative that Deuce shouldn't play because he isn't ready to run an NBA offense. The kid makes an impact without the ball with energy and defense. I'm going to throw in a little caveat tonight as soon as I find whatever the quote was. Oh, yeah, this is Tibbs on Cam Reddish. He's dealing with a right shoulder injury. Went to the locker room. No more details. Okay, great. I think Emmanuel Quickley has a lot to do with it because I still don't think Tom Thibodeau trusts Deuce McBride to run an NBA offense. And I'm not sure I disagree with him, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think him being able to play with this version of Quickley, who we haven't talked about a lot tonight, but my goodness gracious, what a night from him. And what a last 7 games for Emmanuel Quickley. Putting his season back together, getting those percentages back up closer to where they were last year. I would not be surprised if by the end of the year he finishes the season shooting even better than he did last season. That's why I've never given up faith in Emmanuel Quickley. And again, very stupid point guard discussion. Is he a point guard? Is he not a point guard? He's running an NBA offense now. Perfectly fine. Looks good doing it. And when you put him alongside a guy like RJ Barrett, who's doing what RJ Barrett's doing, and give him a little Cam Reddish, and God forbid, give him this version of Julius Randle, then you're talking about a really exciting player. Put Deuce next to that guy, and now we're talking. I love that. I love that combo. I've loved that combo since we first saw them this year. Hush Zoo. Now RJ was a god. Of course, it's got to the point where I'm just expecting 23, 5, and 5. Something with RJ, I have to point out here, the playmaking recently really, really taking a nice step up. And it doesn't always manifest itself in assists. Tonight, as has been the case over recent games, RJ made a number of really nice passes that did not result in assists because guys just missed shots, but had 6 assists tonight over his last 5 games. 6 tonight, going back 4 assists, 5 assists, 7 assists, 6 assists. And then if you go right before he was out for the 4 games before the break, 6 assists, 5 assists, and 2 of the 3 games before that. He has turned a corner, I think, as a playmaker. He's still not where I would love him to be, but hey, say it with me now, 21 years old, you know? So that's really exciting that he's making these plays and he's really facilitating for his teammates. Um, Rest of your comment, Hush. I love IQ off ball. This is 2020 IQ. We love no hesitation, just balling. I mean, I don't know. I feel like he's on ball quite a bit. I just feel like he's not thinking. He's reacting. He's just playing. He's just making plays. He's doing what he needs to do. But there is also like a better playmaker than we saw last year and that we saw earlier in the season. And like, look, let's give credit where credit is due. The organization made it a point this year to try to see if they could make him more of a playmaker. And I think it's working. I think it has worked. Who deserves credit for that? I mean, obviously, Emmanuel Quickley deserves most of the credit, but I think the organization and maybe the coach deserve a little credit for that. So, yeah. Ignacio Lobregat. Lobregat? I think that is how you pronounce that. Thank you for the contribution. Shout out to the KFS team from across the world. You are the man. Thank you, my man. Taj brought some Knicks tape. Kurt Thomas energy. Let's go Knicks. It's funny you say that because I was looking up. I wanted to see who the oldest Knick was to have 3 blocks in a game because Taj Gibson had 3 blocks tonight at the ripe young age of 36 years old. I'm pretty sure it's Kurt Thomas. I checked it before. I think I saw his name at the top of that leaderboard. So appropriate that you shout out Kurt Thomas tonight. Long live Kurt Thomas. Crazy eyes. By the way, shout out to everyone in here. Again, we are nearing 2 o'clock in the morning, still over 400 strong. It's all good stuff. It's great when the Knicks win. It really is. Brian Benjamin, playing the kids and getting wins. Tibbs might keep his job. Do you think this is Tibbs' choice or the front office pushing him to play the youth? The question of the hour. I think it's a little bit of both. I have maintained, and I have no reason to change this, that everything this season has been a collaboration between the coach and the front office. You know, it's something I never point out. I pointed out at the time that the rumor came out about like Worldwide West like chirping in James Dolan's ear that like this season was partially Tibbs' fault. We haven't heard anything that like Tibbs in the front office are like disagreeing on like who to play. If we have heard something like that, I don't believe I've seen it reported. There's definitely been reports about Tibbs, you know, being in a different position with the front office on the Cam trade, on other things that happened at the trade deadline. But I don't know. I think I don't think Tibbs will ever play a player that he does not believe deserves to be playing. And I think it's interesting how the Cam thing has gone because he didn't play when he first came here, and now he's been playing significant minutes. He would have played a lot more tonight had he not gotten injured. And they've been giving him more and more minutes, and I think that maybe is a little bit of a compromise. But I also think, again, leave it to me to give credit to this coach, but how they've held him accountable since he first came here. Cam Reddish, I think that matters. And I think he's earned the minutes because I think he's looked pretty good. Not always making shots, but like playing hard on defense, being in the right position on defense. I don't fear Cam Reddish being out there defensively. So do I think that, Tibbs might keep his job? We'll see. I think he would need to make a real big push towards the end of the season. Luke Johnson, what's going on, Luke? Hey, Macri, it's my birthday. Happy birthday, Luke. So I think Randle knew that, which is why he played good after the clock hit midnight. However old you are, I have a little bit of drink left in this glass. Cheers to you. and to the Kings forever sucking. Dan Hidalgo, buried in grad homework, but 2 wins in a row. Go Knicks. Dan, congratulations on going to grad school and doing your thing. I hope it was worth it. And good luck on all your work. Appreciate all the people in there saying get the likes up. Yeah, we do have over 400 strong in here. I think likes help us, so feel free to gently tap the like button if you like Emmanuel Quickley, putting up 27 points on 10 shots. My God, what a stat line! I love Quickley. Oh, is this Mello from Toronto? I think this is Mello from Toronto. People can have their opinions on Tibbs, but you can't deny that he still has these guys playing hard and playing with purpose. That's not an accident. Yeah, I'm not, I don't need to preach the gospel of Thibodeau tonight, but like, it's not just about that. Because like, look, if we're being honest, like they haven't always. They've been ready to play. The extra effort has not always been there this year, but like at the same time, for as poor as they've been for stretches defensively, I think that's more on the cohesiveness of the group, which again you could put on coaching. You could also just put it on the individual players. I still think that Tibbs' best trait, and I think I mentioned it after the last game, and I'll mention it again here. He puts a game plan in place every game where if you execute the game plan and you do what you're supposed to do, good things will generally happen. Now, does that devolve into too much iso ball? Yes. Is that one of the sins of Tom Thibodeau? Yes. Does he over rely on his veterans? Yes. Does he play guys too many minutes? Probably. Is he the best people person in the world? Not so much. But there is still accountability in this franchise. And there's still accountability in that locker room. No one has tuned him out. They come with a game plan. They're ready to play pretty much every night. I know the big lost leads are a bad look for Tibbs, but they do get out to those leads. It's just been a frustrating season all around, and we've seen the good and the bad of Tom Thibodeau. But like, I'll end by saying the reason that I consistently push back on the fire Tibbs and the it's all Tibbs' fault stuff is because there's good and bad there. So yeah, that's all. Pro Glitz, what's going on, Pro? In a perfect world, is there a possibility where we re-sign Cam, trade Randle, and Obi makes the jump next year? Can Cam and Obi coexist as starters with RJ as the number one? Oh boy. So you got RJ, Cam, and Obi. I don't know. Something about that unit doesn't sit well with me. I feel like you need a Quentin Grimes in there somewhere. I think Cam as your starting four might be a little small. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm not sure I buy Obi Toppin as a starter in just such a unique, specific situation. And it's only and by the way, he needs to get better. He needs to make threes. There needs to be a dynamic guard and some really good knockdown shooters and like really good defenders on the perimeter for that to work. I'm much more bullish on the possibility of RJ and Cam starting together next season. I'm not necessarily with Randle. I don't know if I like those three together either, but like I don't know. I like RJ and Cam together. It's not perfect, but I like them together. And is there a possibility? Like anything's possible. We'll see. Do I think they could re-sign Cam this summer? They could. They could. I still think that's going to be a tough contract negotiation for. I don't know if either side's going to get what they want. Kevin Danishevsky. Notice there's been no commentary on this from the super chat. So really frustrated with Tibbs tonight. Barely any Archidiacono minutes. Ridiculous. I like that. I appreciate that, Kevin. Max Margiata? No, that can't be. Margiata. Margiata? I don't know. I'm butchering this. Max. Hi, Max. Recent games showed why a lot of Irish should be going to the front office for not being active at the deadline. Tibbs' rotations have been more creative since injuries have come. RJ, JR, 4-5 devastated the Kings. Yeah, I mean, we all season long, or since last year, we always talk about Randle and Obi together. How about Randle and RJ together at the 4 and the 5? Like, you can't really guard that, even if Randle's shot isn't falling, which, by the way, it was tonight. I don't know. You could only make the trades that are there to be made, and that makes sense for your team long term. Not getting rid of Kemba at the deadline didn't end up. I mean, it cost. I mean, look, and he kept playing, and maybe he cost them some of those games, 1 or 2 of those games. Maybe that ends up being the difference in their season. But like, Kemba's not playing anymore. So what do we think? They should have come hell or high water traded Burks. I don't know. Like, Burks has played a big role in both of these, and like I'm the only person in the world who thinks this, but I still believe in like Burks as a contributing factor to like this team this year and moving forward. So I don't know. But did the front office do a good job at the deadline? No, I don't think so. Vasilis Papas. Oh wait, sorry. Let's get to you and then we'll go back. I know I missed one. Who in their right mind trusts Alvin Gentry to run his team? Unbelievable this guy is still around. Good morning from Greece. Go Knicks, go Olympiacos. Shout out to you, Vasilis. Thanks for joining us from Greece, and good morning to you. And I don't trust Gentry, but at the same time, like, is that Gentry's fault? Like, that organization, like, that's kind of why I've been like holding on to Tibbs, because like as an organization, we've been where the Kings are. And I don't believe we're there now. And I don't believe we've been there this season. I think we're still holding on to something. And I think Tibbs is a part of that. But, Ariel Diaz, I was at the game, and what a birthday gift. Happy birthday, Ariel. The early fouls in the first half were too much. That didn't work with better teams. I still have your something. They don't win this game if they're playing most teams. Let's call it like it is. Okay. I should have said it probably at some point before the 48-minute mark of this live stream. They don't win this game if they're playing most teams. And that's okay. You take your breaks where you can get them. And Kevin Danishevsky, I think this is going to be our last comment. I think this was mentioned on a halftime Zoom, but who do you see having a bigger role on the team next year, Rokas or McBride? In my opinion, Rokas looks legit. That's a great question. I mean, obviously, I'm guessing. I think it's pretty clear that Rokas has a higher ceiling than Deuce. Is he even going to come over next year? I don't think that's a guarantee. I think Deuce profiles as like a really good combo guard off the bench, who's like your 8th or 9th man. I think that's probably where he tops out. I don't personally see him as an NBA starter. Rokas, a little bit bigger than Deuce. A little bit more of he's a better offensive player. I don't know. We'll see if Rokas comes over. I would bet on Rokas having the bigger role. I'll say that. So yeah, I think Rokas has a higher upside, and we'll see what happens. Okay, that's it. Thanks everybody. It is now 10-2 in the morning. I'm going to go attempt to write about this game and this crazy team that is just gets crazier and crazier. But until the Mavs game, have a good next couple days of your week, and we will see you in a few.